Welcome back to No Apologies on BEK. I am Lori Hinz, your host, and with me remotely is Tommy Hicks, co-chair of the RNC, or the Republican National Committee. Tommy, thanks for joining us tonight. We have been having a conversation about Republicans versus Democrats, and we can continue that conversation here in a little bit now. I would like to talk a little bit about voting and the importance of people getting out to vote on the local level.
Well, it's absolutely critical. If you don't vote, you don't have a voice. And so my brother and many people that we all know have served in our military for our right to vote, for our democracy, for our republic. And so we have to take that responsibility very seriously and get Republicans elected across the board. Like now we have an exciting movement on our hands. And what our movement is to remind Washington, D.C. that they work for us. And it's not the other way around.
Absolutely. Now, on that lowest level, too, there are primaries all across the country that are happening, too. And I think it's really important for people to get out to vote in November. You need to do that. But you also need to think about the primaries. In our view here in North Dakota, that is where the sausage is kind of made. So you need to make sure that you're voting for Republicans in the primary. And then those Republicans go on to the general election.
Absolutely. And again, our enthusiasm on our side, the Republican side, is unmatched by the Democrats. And you're seeing people who really want to come back and take control over the direction of our country. And we are the party of liberty, prosperity, and freedom for all Americans. And you know what? It's such an honor to be working with you, Lori, in this movement to save our country.
Well, and I feel the same way about, the folks in the RNC, too. There are some amazing, amazing people, national committee men and national committee women and chairmen from across the United States who are all working hand in hand trying to get this done. Now, I know that the chairwoman, Rhonda McDaniel, does not like to use the phrase red wave because we don't want to do anything like that and make any predictions like that. What we need to do is we just need to get out and work for it.
We have to work for it. We have to create the red wave. And we're going to do that from the federal level. And we're going to do that from the bottom up with the city council races, with school board races. But we have to create the wave ourselves. And, with people like yourself who are willing to go put out the work, we will do it.
It is also important to think about how those lower level offices make so much of a difference in terms of things like the mask mandates and the vaccine mandates and all of those things. And it comes from the local level on in many ways, in that those are the people who are most easily spoken to in person. You've got the best contact with them, and those are the people you need to really consider vetting and making sure that we look for good conservatives.
Absolutely. And I just had lunch with one of our Dallas County commissioners here in Texas. And, that's a tough race. This guy fights his tail off to win, to represent the county of Dallas, one of 4 county judges here. But that's not an easy job. And, I just admire people like him who are willing to go out there and put the work in to go win and make a difference for the fellow citizens of my home county.
Right. Now, here in North Dakota, we have a June 14th primary. And then, of course, the election in November is the general election. And it seems to me that the momentum is definitely on the side across the country, not just in North Dakota, with the Republican Party, just simply because of the terrible policies of this administration. And I know that that's very common, that when you have somebody from the opposite party who is in, that in midterms it kind of swings the opposite way.
Well, North Dakota is a great state. It's very Republican. I love North Dakota. But I think what's important is when we have conversations with people around the country, that we encourage everybody to stay united as Republicans. Every single Republican is better than any Democrat these days.
Absolutely. So when you go and you do your voting, you remember that. Think that, too. Now, in North Dakota, we have a supermajority in the House and in the Senate. But we also have a Democrat Party who is looking at us and kind of licking their chops going, OK, we need to, So what we're looking for right now in North Dakota is we're really trying our best to try to gain some unity so that we can fight off any type of attacks.
Well, keep fighting hard. We've got to win this thing, and just remember your brothers and your sisters in Pennsylvania and Missouri and North Carolina, we've got to win this thing. We have to save our country.
Yeah. Now, the thought of not taking the House and the thought of not actually taking the Senate is really terrifying to me, because the possibility that that would happen is just devastating to our country. Look what it's been like this just the last 2 years. Seems like an eternity.
Yeah, I'll say it again. This Democrat Party is not the party of JFK. These are radicals. They've been hijacked by the radical left, and it's really, frankly, frightening. And I've got an 8-year-old and 2 6-year-old girls. I'm fighting for them, and I know you are as well. So I appreciate your support.
Now, what I want to ask you about is these Biden. The words that he uses sometimes are really, really interesting to me. For instance, he says, we're in transition. Now, how are we supposed to, as Americans, interpret that?
Well, what they want to do, what the Democrats want to do, is tell everybody from their ivory tower in Washington, D.C., how to run their lives every single day. And we, the American people, love and appreciate liberty, and we control the outcome of our own lives. And I just think it's ridiculous to allow the Democrats to continue on this path forward. They are radicals. They want to control every aspect of your life. We can't take that anymore.
No, we are the Freedom Party, and we are the Liberty Party. And what's interesting to me is I hear often people view the left as being more compassionate and they're kinder, and I'm like, that is so foolhardy. And I think the difference is that Republicans are at least as compassionate. We're just not as braggadocious about it.
There is nothing compassionate about $5.51 gas prices. There's nothing compassionate about empty shelves or a shortage of baby formula. The Democrats are out of control.
No, I absolutely agree with you. I also think that it's important that we try to get our message out as Republicans, too, that we are for freedom, we are for liberty, we are for, opening up the economy, opening up our energy resources. And the fact that we were energy dependent right after Biden took office is so frustrating to those of us in North Dakota.
Day one. I mean, you can't make this up.
I know, that's so true. So in Texas, where you are, so are you confident that things are going to go toward the right and red wave? Because I've seen some little inklings that there's some real opportunities with different groups now, like Hispanics and blacks, and now they're no longer the Democrat voters.
Yeah, I'm very confident, but I know we've got our work cut out for us. But we're really excited about building relationships with communities who haven't necessarily voted Republican in the past. Hispanics, blacks, Native Americans, Asian Pacific Americans. We're out there building relationships today that are going to pay off for a generation. We have a historic generational opportunity to bring people into our party, and we're really excited about that. And I got to credit Ronna McDaniel for her leadership in this vision. And I think people are going to step up. They want to take ownership in the future of our country, and we're the right party.
I agree with that. I think it's also really important that people realize that this is not your, like you said, it's not your grandfather's or your father's Democrat Party, but it's also not your father's or your grandfather's Republican Party, because we're on the offensive.
Yeah, and you're seeing results right now. Like in Florida, for instance, just a few years ago, we were upside down in terms of voter registration with the Democrats by 300,000 votes. Now we're ahead of them by over 100,000 votes. Pennsylvania, we've narrowed the gap by over 500,000 registered Republican voters. And so in the end, it's a simple math problem. We've got to get more our people out to vote than they do.
Yep, and we're doing it. The momentum is on our side.
Yes.
Thank you very much for taking time out and being on our program, Tommy. We appreciate hearing your words. We'll have you on again, not maybe so long in between.
That's lovely. Thank you.
All right, you bet. Thanks, Tommy. We'll see you soon.